Hey there, my name is Meagan Clanahan. I am the co-owner of Houston Moms, and this should be a familiar face for you. Dr. Juliette Breeze with Next Level Urgent Care is back with us today with some important updates and information we feel like you should know in the Houston community. Dr. Breeze, thank you so much for joining us once again. Always great to see you.
It is great to see you too, Megan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so quite this past week we've had, right? Um, the inclement weather, cold weather, apocalypse. I put this on this morning thinking it was chilly this morning and now it's 80. So tis Houston for you. Did y'all do okay?
It was a crazy week for everyone, as you know, and I would highly recommend against anyone having 23 clinic locations around Greater Houston because it's kind of like, you can't escape. So there's got to be at least one that floods and at least one or two that don't have power and a few more that don't have water. So we make it work. It's the great news is that with all of the possible locations we have, we can always open a few to serve the community, as we can. So it's just a crazy environment that we live in, and I feel like over the last couple of years we've just been living through, going from one crisis to the next, but we're getting pretty good at it. We certainly were able to stay open and be open for people, which is really important to me. It's why we're here. So
Absolutely. In their moment of need. And I think a friend put it well for HEB, our beloved HEB, who
yes.
has such a great disaster plan. But then it's always like, it's such a great disaster plan, but we hate that we have to implement it so many times. And so now you guys have, perfected that disaster plan and yeah, oh gosh, and we'll get to hurricane season and all that at some point. So with all of the ice storm madness and everything that happened, one thing that kind of got pushed to the side a little bit was talking about the vaccine and COVID and what's happening there. I know some people missed their shots. There's just a lot happening now on the vaccine front that I feel like we need to catch up on. So can you touch on where you guys are with the vaccine?
Yeah, sure. Actually, it was a really threw a big wrench in everything to have the weather do what it did. But what has happened with Next Level, and I mean, we're sort of just one player amongst many. We started out getting a lot of doses from the state, and we're able to vaccinate, people that were, of course, the state is recommending that we vaccinate phase 1B and 1A, which is healthcare workers, and then people with, comorbidities, problems like diabetes and heart disease and things like that. So we have been able to do that. We stopped getting our own doses a few weeks ago from the state because the state moved to a plan where they were basically creating hubs, is what they called them. So there were large organizations that they sent all the vaccine to, and they stopped sending it to some of the private organizations and some of the smaller physicians. So what we did was we already had a great system. We were able to vaccinate with our team. We were able to vaccinate over 1,000 people a day. And so we actually offered our services to local counties and the city. And Fort Bend County took us up on that offer. And we started a clinic in Stafford at the HCC there, and we were vaccinating about 1,000 people a day. And then this week, we're actually opening a second location at Katy Mills Mall. And so the Katy Mills Mall will be running vaccine through a combined effort of Next Level Urgent Care and Fort Bend County. And so if people qualify, then they can register on our website. And of course, we're going to pull Katy addresses first, but anybody, where it's not even limited to only Fort Bend County residents. We will vaccinate anyone who's on our list. So if people have, relatives, friends, neighbors, or themselves that, qualify under the categories that the state is vaccinating right now, then please go to our website, put your name on our list, and we will be sending out invitations with links to those people. And I'm really excited, Megan, because I think that the vaccine gives me hope. So I want to be out there vaccinating as many people as possible. This is a really big deal for us. We feel like we can really make an impact on our community if we can just get more people to be immune to COVID.
And I know you are speaking from the heart there, because I remember talking with you, gosh, over the summer, and we were talking about how you guys have been involved in these studies since the very beginning, and very intricately involved, and looking at all of the research, and I'm thrilled for y'all that it's paying off. And now it could almost make a person cry. Like, it's paying off in the way that it's going into our community. And I think that's incredibly powerful, and truly a testament to where the heart of Next Level is. So thank you for that. And, even with our excitement, and I think, there's still some people that are maybe high risk. They might be 65 and older, or have those comorbidities or pre-existing conditions that put them at a higher risk of COVID or COVID mortalities. They're still just not quite sure that they're ready to get that vaccine. From your perspective, what would you tell somebody who's kind of still on the fence there?
Well, I would tell them right now, which is something that we weren't able to tell the first group of people, but right now, millions of people have gotten these vaccines. We, in the case of, let's take Moderna, which is the vaccine that we've been able to do the most of, really the statistics are that only 10 people have had anaphylactic reactions out of 4 million doses of Moderna. And no one has died. They've been reactions that could be handled by easily with medication. And the other thing that I think is really important is that these vaccines work. We are seeing even better statistics now. At first we had to go with what the study statistics showed, which was that 95 out of 100 people who got that vaccine did not get severe disease, and 100 out of 100 people did not die from COVID once they were vaccinated. That's unbelievable. In the scientific community, we're all like, no way. How is this even possible that we have such an incredibly fantastic vaccine? It's just amazing. So I'm very excited about it. I know there are some people who are worried. I think that with every passing day, they should become less worried. I've personally had both doses. Now, I'm not going to tell you that it is comfortable to get your second dose, because you start, you get your immune system revved up with that first dose, and then that second dose comes, and boy, you don't feel too good. But I was almost like happy that I wasn't feeling good, because I knew that meant, my immune system was working, and that I was going to be ready to battle the virus should I be exposed. So it's exciting times. Pfizer is coming out with some new data that say that even after one dose, you're like 92% immune. crazy data. This is just, again, we were hoping that we would get a vaccine that could maybe prevent 50%. But we've got these things that are just doing great. So, I think that people are going to slowly but surely come around. I've seen that in my own staff. I really wanted to get my frontline workers all vaccinated, and I definitely had some people that were very hesitant to do it initially that have now called me and said, okay, I'm ready. They've, seen their friends, everybody's fine. And, of course, all of us are really excited about the idea that Houston as a greater metropolitan area could be immune, could reach herd immunity. And the only way we're going to do that is if we are vaccinating a lot of people every day. So we have to be doing about 50,000 doses to get about in a half a year. We'll be all immune if we can get that going. 50,000 doses a day. That takes a lot, So we're trying to do our part, but we're only up at like about 2,500 doses a day. So there's a lot of other organizations that are jumping in, Methodist Hospital System, Memorial Hospital System, some of the Harris County. These guys have been doing lots of doses, and I think that that's what we have to do as a community to get our kids back to school, to get our be able to meet up and not be in masks. I mean, gosh, we all just want to get back to being ourselves again.
The real life,
Mhm.
whatever that looks like now. But and I think that's so cool how the medical community as a whole has pulled together,
Mhm.
and that everyone is in this because we all
Oh yeah.
want to see it end. And so I know it's definitely been a collaborative effort, and thankfully y'all have been there. And I know that this may be a little bit off topic, but I mean, it still goes with vaccines. So what is it looking like? Are we hearing anything from the state once we get past the 1As and the 1Bs, how it's going to fall in line next? I think I've told you before. So I have a daughter with pre-existing heart condition. Obviously, she can't be vaccinated because we haven't tried. She's only 10. Um, and so I'm looking forward to the day where my husband and I can go in there to help hopefully protect her a little bit. So, do we know
Yes.
anything? Have we heard any whispers?
So, the word on the street, and again, this is probably as good as, anything, but um, we are expecting a much larger shipment of vaccine to be available. We've got Johnson and Johnson is getting approved here, hopefully in the next week, and with that, we should see additional doses. They've also been ramping up manufacturing like crazy, and so once we have enough vaccine to get out there, I think that it's going to rapidly move to, the general public. I think that there's a lot of, talk about um, frontline workers. So, people who are teachers, people
Teachers.
who are,
Mhm.
yeah, teachers would be fantastic. We're really excited. We've been trying to do 1B teachers as much as we can.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the educators in our community would definitely be fantastic to be able to vaccinate them. I am personally of the opinion that I wish we could just go ahead and vaccinate the 18 to 43-year-olds, because to be quite honest with you, those are the people who are getting it
They're
the
the
most right now.
spreaders.
They're the
Yeah.
spreaders. And so, I think it's going to be fantastic when we're able to do that. And I know I'm kind of an optimist, but I really think in the next couple of months, we're going to see a really rapid rise in the number of people who can be vaccinated. And I think the state will really open up. I think because there was just such a restraint on how many doses we've been able to get, they had to put some really, strict restrictions on, but I see that opening up in the next couple of months really, really nicely for everyone. So I've got my fingers crossed that by this summer, everyone is really, the people who want to be vaccinated will be able to be vaccinated. Yeah.
That's so encouraging. So I know I keep checking the website and I'm like, so what's next? Is it 2A, 1C? Like what's happening?
I know. I think it's going to go fast, though. I really do. I think it won't be like
Yeah.
we're stuck in, one phase forever.
I feel like what I've read, it won't be so much a stopgap for the next crew to open up. So I think that'll be interesting. So to kind of switch gears, so you mentioned at the top of the video, how many clinics now?
Okay, so it's crazy. So we have 17 urgent cares, but we're also taking care of 6 employer groups at their locations. So we have 6 on-site clinics. We are also under construction right now with 3 clinics, and we expect to do a few more this year as well. Our goal is that we really want to have really great coverage of Greater Houston. Houston is our home. We want to be able to go to any employer in Houston and say, we can take care of all of your employees no matter where they live, because no matter where they live, there is a next level within 10 or 15 minutes of them. So that's the kind of the goal, the ultimate goal. And we're getting there. We're working our way around Houston.
I love it. So was I reading three to 4 clinics in 2021? Is that's what y'all are looking
Yes,
at?
yes.
Okay.
And
So
I mean, that may change, but it's definitely, that's the worst case scenario in terms of like growth. We may do a few more, but we're definitely committed to those.
that's awesome. Well, if we know anything about 2020 and 2021, anything can happen, right? So
That's
like,
right. That's right.
I'm not even
Well,
gonna
what's been
say,
interesting? Yeah. Well, what's been interesting to me is that we've had some opportunities that we didn't expect, because some other healthcare providers didn't weather the COVID world very well, and
Mhm.
they went out of business, frankly. And so, you know, we're trying to take advantage of the fact that they have beautiful space that's already built out, and
So yeah.
if it's an area we wanted to be in, we're just kind of going for it. So that's it's been a little bit of what spurred on some of our growth.
Well, and I think that's so smart, especially if it fits into your business plan and where you all want to be, which is
Mhm.
north, south, west, east. And I know you're covering that territory, and it's been so fun to watch y'all grow and continue with the same excellence. And so, kind of going to where we were at the beginning, talking about the inclement weather last week, knowing that hurricane season, and I don't even want to say it, but we might be less than 100 days away from hurricane season. And knowing that y'all had to do some maneuvering on open clinics and who was open, and obviously keeping safety of your employees at the forefront. Um, how were y'all still able to treat patients? Are you able to do virtual visits during those times as necessary, or what kind of adjustments are you making during those times?
You know, so we have an app for those of you who use us. If you have not used our app yet, it's really a great tool, because if you get on our app, you can actually see what clinics are open. So in a situation where there might be, hurricane or flood or a freak ice storm or whatever, you can see exactly what locations and how far away they are from you. So it lists them dependent on your own GPS locator, but it also shows you how many people are in line in each location and which locations are open for scheduled visits versus just waiting in line. So we have both. So we've given people options. They also, on the app, it has an option if you would like to be seen virtually. And so what we have tried to do is basically accommodate everybody's wishes. And the thing about the virtual visits is that we do offer a membership model that we're selling to employers, where the employer pays the membership and then their employees for free can use telemedicine, can come to any of our locations anytime, totally unlimited. It's a pretty awesome benefit. If you don't have an employer that is signed up for our membership model, you can still use our virtual visit. It is just a time of service charge. But what we do though is, if it turns out, unlike some of the other telemedicine providers, if it turns out that you call me, Megan, and you sound really bad, and I'm listening to you and you're coughing, and I'm thinking, I wonder if Megan has pneumonia, and I'm virtual with you, so I can't take your temperature and I can't listen to your lungs and I can't do a chest x-ray. And I may feel, and I don't have a pulse ox, so I may feel uncomfortable. And if I am, as a provider, I can say, Megan, I know you wanted to be a virtual visit today, but I'm going to put this visit on hold, and you're going to go to the nearest clinic, which is this one. You can walk right in, skip the line. They're going to open up your visit, and they're going to do all of those things that you need to have done for you so that you are safe and that we are doing a good job for you with your healthcare. And so we just basically convert the visit from a telemedicine visit to a regular visit. And that's our way of making sure, because I think that there's some amazing things that you can do with telemedicine, and it's so convenient and it's so wonderful, but we still want to be good doctors, we still want to take really good care of people. And so that's how we've determined that is the best way to manage it is, hey, we have facilities, and if we need to use them, let's use them. So
I think that is perfect. And I actually had a friend who experienced something. They had, I think they had fallen out of fort and there was a gash. And they went on and they did a televisit with y'all, a virtual visit, and to see if they thought if they needed stitches. And it was the opinion of the provider that it would be okay if you did XYZ, and then they didn't have to go to the clinic. But if we needed to, it was 5 minutes down the road.
awesome.
And so that's the way it works. And yeah, so if you haven't, you definitely need to get that app, because I'm a part of all sorts of neighborhood groups, and they'll be like, what urgent care is open right now? And so all they could do is pull up the Next Level Urgent Care app, see which ones are open, check the hours and locations. But there's probably one near you if you're watching this video, for sure.
And if there isn't, wait, because it's coming.
Like, we're just going to take over the world. It's going to be there. Yeah. And we can say we were there since the beginning. So pretty cool. Dr. Breeze, is there anything additional that you would like to add that we haven't covered today?
Not really, except that I just want to make sure that everyone does know that the end is visible with COVID, and there is maybe one thing that I could advise parents. I think we're going to have normal school in the fall. I think that is a very likely possibility. And with normal school, one thing I just want to kind of put out there, because there is a study that just showed that I think it was in Korea, they had been with masks and lockdown and everything, and then COVID became a thing of the past there, and they reopened school. And what happened was that they still are wearing face masks. They're still doing social distancing. But when the kids got back to school, they started giving each other not COVID, but just like regular colds, like just the stuff that we haven't seen in a while. And so parents, you just have to be ready for that. I think that what's going to happen is that when we get back to quote unquote normal, all the normal stuff is going to come back, and we haven't seen it for a year. And so there's a little bit less immunity out there. And so from our standpoint, we're ready for it, but I just want parents to also remember that, that's probably going to happen.
Just the back to school regular gunk that I would expect, right? And I think that's such a timely reminder. I remember sending, especially my son seemed prone to it. Every time he went back to school for the first time, we knew in 2 weeks Ryan was going to be home with some sort of random cold. And it's just we could almost like plan it by clockwork. And so um, but I will sacrifice the random cold to not have COVID in our
Right.
midst. So
I'm
I
with you.
talk about perspective, right? Dr. Breeze, thank you as always so much for your time today. Your words are always so encouraging and inspiring. And I think it's always fun to be able to check in with you monthly and find out how Next Level continues to move. And we're thrilled to watch y'all do that. So thank you for being
Well,
here.
thank you. And thank you for supporting us. And thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you and to talk to your listeners. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, we can't wait for next month and hopefully more good news.